Hello, everybody, and welcome to Greet the Week. This is Jan Moray and my co-host, Mona Duncan.
Hello.
And Mona's going to be leading the discussion today, where our topic is pretty interesting. Is happiness overrated? What are you thinking, Mona?
Well, I think happiness is a wonderful, wonderful thing, and it is my prayer for everyone that they be happy. But the thing of it is sometimes we're constantly pursuing it, and we have expectations of what it will be, what it'll look like, feel like, taste like, smell like, all that kind of stuff. And whenever we actually engage in it, it turns out to be disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we think, oh, no. And I'm not happy, I'm sad, I'm frustrated, I'm angry. And so the pursuit of happiness, how do you pursue? What does it mean to pursue? Well, it means to look for it. But sometimes we look for it in all the wrong places,
Right.
Or we look for it in the wrong ways. Because even whenever we are pursuing that happiness, we may have written a script for others, and they don't follow the script.
No, they don't. They're not very cooperative, are they? They don't follow what we want them to do.
Right, exactly. And so
Who is they?
They, well, you tell me. It's anyone in our life. It's those that we've married in, live in, work with, neighborhood, live around. It's the occasional people we encounter. It's the ones that are there all the time. They is just the ongoing contributors to our lives.
It's other people.
Other people, right. Others and other circumstances and so forth. And so, kind of looking at Billy Graham, says that there's two kinds of happiness. And that one is superficial in that it is just looking for pleasant circumstances and no problems. But the other type of happiness is inner joy, regardless of the circumstances and regardless of what other people do or don't do and how they interact or don't interact. It's that inner joy that is there in the overcoming regardless of the circumstances. It's the
I think about the first one that you said about no problems. On face value, that sounds like that would be a great thing, to not have any problems. But a lot of times solving those problems and working through them are a source of happiness and where you feel a sense of accomplishment. And so
Exactly.
Not having problems would be pretty boring, wouldn't it?
It's really boring, and then you begin to feel sad because I'm not needed. I don't have anything to put my energy into it, nothing to accomplish, nothing to overcome.
Yeah.
And I do a whole series that I have entitled "Don't Cope, Overcome," because to me, coping is just existing. It's just getting by. But overcoming is getting in touch with our creative system and solving those problems, and for the good of the whole.
Right.
For the good of the whole.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I'm always looking for a good deal.
Yeah.
And in having a good deal, it's that I give a little and you give a little, but it's a give and receive, not a give and take. And in getting that good deal, I have given some, but I'm also receiving. And you have given some, but you're also receiving.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes a symbiotic relationship. Kind of like the cowbird and the cow.
Yeah.
And we may think, well, that cowbird, has a free meal, just sit right on the back of the cow and then he can get his belly full and fly on off. And what's the big deal for him? And then the thing of it is the cow is benefiting too, because there may be a few less flies that are biting and really, so they both benefit, and it's on an ongoing increasing level.
Yeah.
Come back tomorrow and get more more flies.
Yeah. And when we think that we know what the perfect life is, we may be wrong. And then by not allowing the other person to give and take with them and to understand where they're coming from and looking at life from a different perspective, we may learn something and we may enjoy it even more.
Right. I like the perspective of David Engelman. He's written a book called The Brain, The Forming of You. And he talks about the fact that our life in general, but especially our wonder years, from ages birth through 7, is where we are exposing the sculpture that's inside the marble.
Okay.
I like that. You heard that story about the sculptor that was, sculpting, and the little boy was watching him, and he saw this person take place, and the little boy said, "How did you know she was in there?" And so he talks about the brain and how it is exposing the statue that's inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
And how that whenever we are, animals are hardwired to be whatever animal they are, and to be able to adapt to their circumstances. But you move an Arctic animal to the Sahara, and the chances of it adapting is slim, pretty slim, maybe even to none. But we as human beings, we have this major adaptive skill that we can go from one extreme climate to another. And I'm talking about, Arctic or sun. But we also have this ability to go from one extreme climate to another and to begin to adjust. And so in our childhood, we do have some genetic wiring. One is to interact with and to see faces and to read them. It's just something that we're born with. Maybe it's part of that power need or something of reading the faces, and being okay if we see a happy face and being sad if we see a sad face. On the funniest home videos, these kids are crying because somebody else cries.
Right.
And so as we experience all of these things, we are born with these genetic directions, but they're not pre-programmed. And so we have all kinds of experiences in our childhood, and to a large degree, we learn to handle them based on the environment that we're in. Whether it is someone, helping us to learn to be more assertive, or whether it is someone that's helping us to learn to be more demanding or to just give in.
Mm-hmm.
And we carry these things with us, and then when we get into adulthood or getting more on where we don't have someone telling us what to do all the time, it's time for us to look at living life a little differently and to creating our own environment.
Right.
And our own.
And the thing with happiness, I mean, you commented in your blurb, we seem to think that life's goal is to be happy. And then we get the idea that, well, if we're not happy, there's something wrong with us. And, I've read quite a bit, and from, what I'm finding is that as human beings, we're not naturally happy.
No.
That is, we kind of like the feeling, and so that's why we keep trying to pursue it and trying to become happy. But it is a lot of work. It's not something that just happens for us. We have to make it happen. We have to put things into our lives to, that make it better for us, or deal with the bad things that happen, so that we can get through it. We can grow from the experience and move forward.
Yeah, and as we look around at all these people that we, label them as happy, they're happy, or that they're really accomplished in life. The Bill Gates, the Elon Musk, maybe someone that in your neighborhood that say, oh, they're always happy, they're always this. But that is, life is never static. It's always up and down. There's always different things. But in the midst of that, what was your goal in life? Was it setting out to conquer space? Was it setting out to discover relativity? Was it setting out to, or was it finding it by chance?
Mm.
And it's in that chance, and it's in the failures, and seeing that I know that somewhere in there is I know that there's electricity in the clouds, Ben Franklin. I know there is. And how can I find it? And of course, the way he found it, may have hurt him physically with that, or had that possibility of it. But the thing of it is that giving that eureka moment, it releases those chemicals in our body that produces what we think is happiness. But it's accomplishment.
Yeah.
It is setting that goal. It was being competent. It was being responsible. It was helping yourself. It was helping others.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
you
that's
talk about those people that we call happy, or that we think should be happy, and there's a lot of actresses and actors that we think that they've got everything going for them, and why aren't they happy? What and it goes back to, it just doesn't happen automatically. You've got to do things and take a look at what's going on and do something so you get that feeling of accomplishment, because that is one of the greatest ways for feeling good, at least for me, my personal experience.
right. Oh, Mark Spitz was on Good Morning America this morning, and he was talking about how he had lived his life in water, and I don't remember how many medals he's won, and the majority of them were gold. And he said, yes, that was really, really a great accomplishment, and wonderful. He says, but sometimes his biggest accomplishment is getting out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
And, in looking at just the accomplishments out there, and you think, well, I talked with my aunt one time many years ago, and I was talking about happiness. I said, because I looked at we were talking about some of the tragedies and some of the things that she had gone through, and I said that, were you happy? And she said, we didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
We didn't even think about it. We just lived life. Yes, I mean, I was happy, but I didn't give it a title, and I wasn't searching for it.
Right, you're not searching for it. You're not looking for it just for being happy. You're looking for it because you're living a fulfilling life, as in the happiness just comes with it.
Yeah.
Do you have any explanation about the stars who commit suicide? I'm thinking of Robin Williams.
Yeah, he's who I thought of when I was.
He had everything. It seemed like, from my perspective, he had everything. And yet he goes and commits suicide. And then very recently, I've forgotten the guy's name, but the guy that does on CNN, he does those, he travels around the world and does reports about different places. Do you know who I'm talking about? He just
the food guy?
Yeah.
I don't remember his name, but yes.
Well, I don't either, but Parts Unknown is the name of the show. And it's been on for years, and he travels all over the world and talks about not only food, but different places. But he committed suicide. He was on the top of the world. Do you have an explanation of why that would happen?
I mean, explanation, no. It's just looking at the fact that whenever we are going for that, so it's to pursue, instead of looking at happiness itself, or instead of looking at success itself and having a definite definition for it. I want to live in the mystery. This may be what my concept of happiness is. This may be what my concept of success is. But you know what? The fact that I sleep well and have enough money to meet the bills, you know what? That's also a level of success. And so if we don't expand these things as to what success is or what happiness is in our mind to an unreasonable accomplishment, we may have it, we don't even know it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like in Robin Williams' case, he suffered with mental illness for quite a long time, and he was on medication. And when you feel like you keep having to do something new and something different to get happy instead of enjoying life, that's a problem. And I would think that a lot of people who are in the limelight, they realize that it's not making them happy, because they're not really being fulfilled, even though they're making great movies and people adore them. And I don't want to belabor this, but I have a very strong opinion on it with the whole medication thing. In case you're not aware, they increase the chances of suicide. They don't reduce suicide. And just about all of the suicides and shootings and things like that can be traced to people on medication. And when you change the dose, you act more erratically. And but I think the reason they start taking the medication in the first place is just they haven't learned how to be grateful for what they have and how to appreciate what they have. They keep looking for the next great thing. What's the next thing, instead of really enjoying what's going on right now.
And even just smelling the flowers, enjoying the little things in life.
Right.
The sunset.
Because there's so much to be grateful for. I mean, that whole gratitude thing is just huge, because we have so much. Even people who don't have a lot of money, who live in the United States, we all have so much to be grateful for, that we keep comparing ourselves to other people, and that's just wrong. It's like, look at where I have come, and if I haven't progressed in my life, then shame on me. There are things that I can do to make things better, and appreciate the people that helped us along the way and helped us get to where we are.
Oh, on Sunday morning, they had Robert Redford, and he is retiring. He is and anyway, he was talking about, and he has this big spread and the beauty and the mountains and so forth. And he talked about how that, he was just an unlikely success. That things they kept, well, first of all, he was in a little, someone saw a talent in him and encouraged him to pursue it, and he did, and then he got an award, and he kept getting an award, but he never felt like he'd earned that award. He was pleased with it, he was thankful for it, and he liked the income, and he liked working with the people, but he never took it as this is who I am, but it was who he was. And so it contributed to his well-being all over. And he said that he never thought he was a leading man. He never thought he was the romantic. He never thought he was good looking. And whenever they began to put all this publicity and everything about it, he began to think, well, maybe I am so good looking. And his happiness, his well-being just began to go down. And he said, no, I got to get out on my own. I got to have some. Matter of fact, next week we're going to talk about reflection. He said, I need to have some, I need to think things through. I need to clear my space, that realize that I might be important, I'm just not that important.
Yeah. Well, and that's how you get caught up in that thing, thinking that I'm important and expecting all these people to be so excited to see you, and you want all the magazine articles or whatever and all the attention. But then when it doesn't happen, when it doesn't continue to increase, I mean, you put too much stock into that as being what's important for your happiness. You have to find ways to make yourself happy. You can't depend on other people's reactions towards you to feel that.
Yeah.
Maybe part of the difference is journey versus destination.
Okay. Has a lot to do with it, definitely.
Could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I think all too often we do more planning for a wedding, more planning for a vacation, more planning for looking forward to than we do looking at the marriage as long term, or looking at life as long term, planning for a career. And why do you go in a particular career? Because it makes a lot of money. Well, you know what? I am all for making money. But I am for making a living. I am for living the life in the process, because it's in through those accomplishments. So yes, it's more about the journey than it is the destination. And so we go on vacation, and then while we're there, you want to take pictures of it, and you want to share it with all your friends while you're there. And then you go home and you look at the pictures to see if you had a good time or not.
Yeah. you don't realize when you're actually having doing it. I thought of that this year. We went to Peru for vacation, and then I remember being at Machu Picchu and just looking at the splendor of it all and saying, okay, I'm just going to sit here and enjoy this, because I'm only going to be here for a few hours, and so I'm going to take it all in. Tomorrow this will all be over, and I'll never come back again. So I'm just going to enjoy. But I've never really done that before, to really stop myself and say, I need to enjoy this while it's happening, instead of running around, we got to go see this, we got to go see this. No, I'm just going to sit and take it all in.
And the eye never gets full. You know, we always wanted to, so appreciate what is there and absorb it, you know, take it into your being, into your soul, enjoy it. And the person, you know, they're going to continue. We're always changing. I'm changing. You're changing. We're all changing. And so it's living in the moment, and it's appreciating right where we are now and finding some measure of joy in it, some measure of pleasure in it, some measure of it's okay. It's just okay.
Yeah.
And even if it's really difficult to, you know, build that muscle or to climb that mountain, that it is the journey, is the getting there. That is really the thing we remember the most and that we feel most accomplished about.
You know, and Jerry, you brought up the point about the journey in getting there. And I've always been one, I've got goals and I do whatever I can to get there. And I don't really enjoy the journey, but I've started learning to, okay, let me learn to appreciate the journey. And one example is in our lot that we have, I'm putting in these walking trails so I can walk through the yard and stuff, and it's kept natural. And I don't have a vision of what it's going to look like. My husband asked me, you know, what is the final thing going to look like? I said, I don't know. I don't want to have a vision of what it's going to look like. I'm just enjoying doing it. Just every day I go out there, I say, so what do I want to work on today? Well, I'm going to do a little bit here. And I'm really enjoying the process, enjoying the journey instead of having this destination that's driving me to finish.
Right.
But is there something about our society that really emphasizes the destination more than the journey?
Well, it's possible. It's possible
when you achieve something.
But the thing of it is, we've got to do what's best for us. You know, society, there are so many things now that and, you know, looking for likes on this and likes on that. Well, so what if someone doesn't like it? And it's not ugly, hateful in your face. It's just big deal. If I don't like it, I don't like it. If you like it, fine, go for it. And, you know, if it's enjoyable for you and it's not stress producing and it, you know, it's okay to not all be the same.
No, I understand that, but what I'm trying to say is that it seems like our society is built a lot more in rewarding the destination than the journey. We give prizes if you come first, second, or third. You graduate from school, you get a diploma, you get up on stage, and everybody applauds. It's the destination that we recognize. But I'm talking society. We recognize, but we don't give much attention to the actual journey, the years of studying or whatever it takes. It's you mow your lawn and it looks great when you finish, but nobody applauds the guy out there pushing the lawnmower. You understand what I'm saying here?
I do understand what you're saying. Yeah. I do.
There seems to be an imbalance in our society that maybe we're emphasizing the wrong things.
Right. And it starts one person at a time of not emphasizing the wrong things.
But it's so easy to get excited about an end goal. And it's difficult to encourage people when they're on that journey. It's very hard, and I mean it's prevalent in our lives. We do look at the end result instead of talking about the effort that was put into it and all the time and the progress. It's and like Mona said, or Jerry, we have to start changing it. We have to start acknowledging that. But it's really difficult to change the world.
I've mentioned to you before that for 18, 20 years I worked with pre-release with prisoners and getting ready to go back into society and helping them to integrate and so forth. And whenever I would finish a class, someone in the office invariably would ask me, well, how'd it go? And my answer was always, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because I do. Now, I'm here to tell you that's one of the toughest solving issues you can ever. Matter of fact, the person I have just recently resigned from that because I'm excited what's going on in the rest of my life. And the person that took it over sent me a text and said they don't participate. And sent me a text again, and he said, are they allowed to leave early? Sent me a text again, can they drag in when they want to? And I said, no, but those things aren't allowable. There are, you need to kind of keep on. And whether they get it or not, you've got, I say this as humbly as I know how. And that is, I know that what I'm going to share is worthwhile and it's shareable. And how do I know that? It's because I live it. It's an everyday thing. And every day just gets better and better and better and better and better. All those difficult relationships just become a little bit more smooth. All of those areas of disappointment become a little bit less disappointing. And so we've got to do it as an intention of, doing the best that we can, realizing that we can always improve.
Yeah.
And enjoying where we are at the moment and at the time. I mean, this weekend I have a training scheduled. It's a 3-day training, and I had a full schedule, and I was just really excited about that. And then this one group that was coming together, something happened, and they were not able to come this time. They had to put it off to a January date. And I'm thinking, oh, great. First of all, it's too late to cancel, because I've already made the commitment with the hotel, and I'm already obligated to the fees and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, no. I'm still having it. I'm going to work with this, 1-2 people that's going to be there. And I'm going to give the very best that I can give, because it is a symbiotic relationship. Because I will receive something. I know I will. Maybe not today. Maybe not this weekend. But you know what? It has that potential there. It has that potential there. It's seeing, it's planting the seed, but not digging it up to see if it's taking root, where it'll never take root. It's to keep on keeping on, because if it doesn't happen this time, then it has given a strength. It has begun to give something that will help it to be that the next time. And talking about what we're talking about, mental problems and depression and taking meds and so forth, that seems to lead quite a bit to negative results. Dr. Glasser, the founder of reality therapy and choice therapy, he never gave mind-altering drugs. He never gave prescriptions for, anything to make someone happy. And he said that medication only takes more time to work through the crazies.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're seeing life in a diluted form. Was it Plato, one of the greats, that said illusion, illusion, all is illusion, or Buddha, illusion, illusion? Because we can take those things that mask us, that keep our blinders on, and we can't see the joy in a joyful situation.
Right.
But we can't see the possible joy in a difficult situation.
I had a client who was on medication. She things were going well in her life, and she said, I just feel frustrated because I can't feel happy. And I asked her, I said, what do you think the medication you're taking, which is supposed to keep you from feeling unhappy, is also keeping you from feeling happy?
Mm-hmm.
And then I read something later that is true, that they can't feel the happiness as well. And so, I mean, because you can't filter out which feelings I'm going to change and which feelings I'm not going to change.
Right.
They all go away. And so it's difficult to enjoy life as well.
Yeah. And so we can pick and choose what we're going to molly grub about or what we're going to enjoy.
Yeah.
And we can realize the fact that, ouch, that thorn hurts, but how much I love the rose.
Yeah.
I love the rose. And I want to live in the mystery. I'm okay with not knowing the outcome. I'm okay with not knowing who all shows up.
Right.
And if nobody shows up, you know what? And I've done this before, because I had one Saturday one that no one showed up. It was just a one-day thing, and no one showed up. But you know what? That room was mine.
Yeah.
And I got on my computer and I danced. And I listened, I just enjoyed it. And we need to learn to, enjoy our own company and see our own good qualities as well as our negative qualities, and see how that, how can I temper both so that it's for the good of the whole? And then be a happy person or be a joyful person.
Right.
That it brings joy.
Well, that's a great note to end on. We're out of time.
Well, it is. I have here a quote from the poet Robert Browning that I'd like to leave as our final quote, final thing. And he says, "There is an answer to the passionate longing of the heart for fullness." He called it fullness. We can maybe say happiness. There is an answer to the passionate longing of the heart for fullness. Live in all things outside yourself by love, and you will have joy. It is a lesson learned slowly and through difficulty.
Yeah.
But it's a lesson well worth learning.
It is worth learning. Absolutely. And you appreciate you appreciate that you made it. You made it through all the difficult times.
Right. And so it is the path to fulfillment that brings happiness.
Yes.
Solving problems.
Yeah.
Overcoming.
Thanks everybody for joining, and everyone who's watching on the replay. We appreciate you, and we'll be back next week for another edition of Greet the Week.